Call that a knife? This is a knife.
That's not a knife, that's a spoon.
All right, you win. I see you've played knifey spoony before.
TBTL.
Please understand that nothing personal is intended here against anybody. I don't hate these artists. I'm not trying to say that God hates them. And I'm certainly not trying to get you to hate them.
It's funny. It's not like a regular haha sitcom. There's no laugh track. There's no audience. It's very stylized. It's about a bunch of guys in Seattle.
Targets.
Don't bully me, all right? I can't take it. I was cyberbullied within an inch of my life last night.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Monday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
These are the best Cajun chicken niblets I've ever had.
My name's Luke Burbank. I'm your host.
I don't know who that is, and I don't care to find out.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia on this February 16th. It's President's Day.
I'm the president of rap music, and I need to work with you right away.
A lot of podcasts would honor the presidents. Actually, it might be honoring the presidents if we didn't do the show. But that's not how we choose to honor the idea of the presidency. I don't know. We're here, even though it's a holiday.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
And it's episode 4664 in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
Story in the Washington Post about a pal of mine, public radio legend, David Greene, and the fact that he is suing Google because the sort of podcast AI voice sounds a whole lot like him, and he's saying they stole his voice. And
How dare you?
There was an exciting little tidbit at the end of the story, which was that the Washington Post called up our friend Mike Pesca, another podcasting luminary, to have him listen to the sound and to decide if they ripped off David or not. We'll tell you what he said, and we'll play the sound for you so you can decide for yourself here on this President's Day.
I've got 2 ears, and they're tuned to the listening station.
This guy has, last time I checked, he's got 2 ears, and they're always tuned to the TBTL station. He is the longest-running Cobro of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
Louis, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. What is it?
He's an Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
I've got an ear. I don't know if I can play today. I've got an ear.
We got to get that graphic for you where you kind of Sam Darnold to the camera, and it just says ear.
It says out indefinitely. Ear. Who would you, in honor of, I know that this is a cliche thing to do, but in honor of President's Day, who would be on your Mount Rushmore of presidents?
Eminem.
Okay, the Beastie Boys.
The Beastie Boys.
Do they count as 1 or 3 heads?
Well, I mean, this is the least interesting answer of all time, but Barry Hussein Obama.
Sure,
Did you see him at the All-Star game?
No, I didn't. Tell me.
Coolly catching, like he was sitting on the sideline with Michelle, like, courtside, because, they're Michelle and Barack. And the ball during the All-Star game bounced over to him, and he very coolly just snatched the ball, tossed it back to the official. No fuss, no muss. It's just like everything the man does is unbelievably cool.
It's amazing.
I would have voted for him 3 times.
It's amazing that this is where the conversation went today, because there's, first of all, so much I actually want to talk to you about your weekend and my weekend to a lesser extent. But I was thinking about Barry so much this week, and it has nothing to do with world events, but I kept on hearing that the All-Star game was happening yesterday, and I know the activities were happening all week. Now, I know nothing about the NBA. All I know is...
Nor do I, honestly, at this point.
Well, but you understand. You could probably point out a basketball in a lineup. I would not be able to even do that. I'd be like, I don't know. Is it that one? And be like, no, that's a volleyball. But I know that there is this sort of ongoing cultural conversation about the state of the All-Star game. And it used to be something that the players were excited about and the fans would be excited about because of all the activities in the game itself, and that it's been sort of diluted over time, and a lot of players don't even want to do it anymore. And I always think, and I don't know if this has been if this tape was from last year or 2 years ago, and I can't find it on the fly, but Obama had a chance to sit down with an NBA player on some, I don't know, podcast. Maybe he was a guest on their podcast. And he was like, I know I sound like an old man here, but like, you guys used to care. You guys used to care. And it was so funny just to hear hear him not as a president, but just as an older statesman of NBA fandom, being angry and having the opportunity to confront a basketball player saying, like, bring back the spirit of the NBA All-Star Game. And I was thinking about that all day yesterday.
Yeah, I have heard the same discourse. I also heard some discourse maybe last night where just some person on like TikTok or something was saying they did it. They figured it out. It was a good game or something. I don't know what they changed about the rules or the, you know.
Good.
I don't know what they did to raise the stakes. One person who I can't even give you their exact name, who they seem like kind of a sports knower, seemed to think that it went okay. So that's the insight I can offer on this whole thing. I just, you know, when the Sonics left Seattle, a part of me died. And I just have slowly lost interest in the NBA. I'm guessing it will come back if and when the Sonics come back to Seattle. But that's also meant not following the All-Star Game, which even in the, like, there was a very good All-Star Game, which I think I referenced, I don't know, a year ago, and I think I got many of the details wrong. But when I was a little kid, I remember that Tom Chambers, Seattle Supersonic Tom Chambers, was a last-minute alternate to play in the All-Star Game. And if I remember right, I believe that All-Star Game was actually played in Seattle at, I think it was just called the Arena in the time. It was before they called it Key Arena. I think it was just called the Arena. And I was a big Tom Chambers fan. And if I remember right, Tom Chambers ended up being the MVP of that game. He hit 2 free throws. He had a great game, even though he was an alternate on the team, and he was the MVP. And that, to me, was like winning the NBA championship in my 9-year-old mind. But that's probably the last All-Star game that I could tell you anything about. Now, the dunk contest, that's a different story, because I was obsessed with the dunk contest, you know, in the 80s and a little bit into the 90s. And I saw something online the other day that just absolutely broke my heart, which was, it was a person much younger than me going like, do you remember the dunk contest from 10 years ago? It was epic, and no one will ever forget it. And I did not recognize the names of the players who were dunking it up. To me, the dunk contest stopped when it stopped being Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight reel, and Michael Air Jordan. Like that, and a little Kenny Skywalker in there, a little, maybe a side of Muggsy Bogues. Actually, could Muggsy Bogues dunk? I don't think he could dunk.
Wait, he was
Spud
one
Webb.
of Whitey Bulger's boys, right?
He was. No Neck Larry, Muggsy Bogues, and Whitey Bulger, I think. They pulled off that bank job.
Yeah, and they won. Didn't they collectively?
In Somerville.
And they collectively did win the dunk contest one year. I don't know. I got it all
written
down
there was
somewhere.
3 Bulgers in a trench coat. Spud Webb is who I was thinking of. Spud Webb was a man of short stature for playing in the NBA, but he could dunk, and it was quite fun to watch him dunk. But anyway, all that is to say, like, the fact that I didn't even recognize the names of the guys that were in what a different generation thinks of as the greatest dunk.
The classic,
The classic, exactly. That's really the word. It's like, here's what it's like. It's like hearing a band on the classic rock station that is old enough to be a classic rock band, but you didn't hear it when they hit the scene, because that is what the March of Time does.
Because not only does it not time-wise seem like classic to you, you weren't even really paying attention to that segment of pop culture at the time.
I missed first and second wave of this band.
Here, how about this for an old guy take? Nothing can be referred to as a classic if it happened in the 2000s.
Thank you. I'll
like
co-sign that on President's Day. What are we, I'm sure this comes up every year when we do the show on President's Day, but are we celebrating specific presidents? Or are we celebrating the idea that we have a presidency? Because I feel like this is not a great year for that. Like, what's the underlying thing of this?
I don't know that I have a better handle on this than you do, but maybe you could Google while I tell you what my guess is or my understanding.
I'm clearing the screen of a goat man in Utah because that was the last thing I was looking at in here.
It'll clear your cache too. My understanding is we used to have we used to celebrate George Washington's birthday, and then we used to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday as separate national holidays, I think, and then at some point they combined the two and made it like whatever this Monday in February is, and
you
made
are
it
spot on, my
Day.
friend.
But is it still now? Is it for those two still, or in combining them, did they also sort of mission creep us out into celebrating all presidents?
I'm going to read the AI overview, and every word I read makes David Greene weaker. So I'm going to try to be
careful,
economical with this. President's Day, it started out, the holiday honors the first president, George Washington, but it's expanded to celebrate all U.S. presidents, including Abraham Lincoln, whose birthday is also in February.
Okay. All right. So there you go. We're pretty close on there. But
how about all but about 5 U.S. presidents? How about all but most U.S. presidents?
Right. Yes. Let's see. Who are we leaving off? Who's on our Mount Rushmore of presidents that we don't want on Mount Rushmore? Let's see here. Andrew Jackson, Donald J. Trump. Moving on. Hey, let's talk about a holiday that we do celebrate and acknowledge, or at least one of us does. Valentine's Day. You had some big Valentine's Day plans. How did that all go? You went to the coast.
We did. We went down to Rockaway Beach down on the Oregon coast and stayed in a little Airbnb. And we brought the dog, Gigi, and it was really, really fun. We got lucky with the weather. On Saturday, it wasn't like super sunny, but it wasn't raining actively. So we got out there and did a little beach walk. Went down to the little local restaurant there. It was very cute. All of the servers at the restaurant were wearing Valentine's colors. They gave Becca a rose. I was like, hey, easy, sleazy.
Hey.
We went to a grocery store that was extremely underwhelming. They have this thing called like Center Market. I think this is kind of a Oregon thing, but maybe especially along the Oregon coast. Becca was well familiar with it. It was all new to me. And I was on the phone going like, where's there, because we were going to make dinner at the Airbnb. And I was Googling, where is there a grocery store? And there was this thing, Center Market. And she goes, no, that's like a plaid pantry. And I said, yes, but there is a Center Market that advertises food and smokes. And then 1 block away, there's a Center Market that advertises grocery. So I was like, I think that one's going to have more stuff. And it did, Andrew, because what they had was really big Buzzballs.
Oh, nice. Those mega Buzzballs. Yeah.
Mega Buzzballs.
I know those things. They're not even mega. They have a funnier name. I'm going to look it up.
I swear to God, if you wanted to waterboard me, I could save you time. Bring out whatever that like white Russian looking mega Buzzball is.
God. Buzzball biggies. That's what they call
a Buzzball biggie.
One time I was in like sorry to cut you off.
I'm not a Buzzball. I just glug a lot.
Okay. No, we're done for the day.
That's how I honor Abraham Lincoln.
Anyway, I remember being in a Bartell drugstore before they all, kind of like the brand got diluted and they sold them all. I don't even know if they exist anymore, really. But there was a time there where those stores were kind of a clash of not high and low culture, but like they were a little bit nicer than your average plaid pantry or something. They were a drugstore. They had nicer things there or whatever. But then they also, in the middle of an aisle, had this huge display of Buzzball biggies. And I just remember, I think it was the day after New Year's Eve or something. And Beeves and I believe, just stood there for a while contemplating the universe and Buzzball biggies placed therein.
Well, I don't think I've had a Buzzball, although the likelihood is if I had a Buzzball, I was blacked out.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like the time that I would think that sounds like a good idea would be a time that I'm not making short-term memories. So I don't have any memory of drinking a Buzzball, but my sense of it was it's this little round thing that you could kind of like bring around with you or whatever. Almost that the utility of it was that it was highly portable and it was this kind of fun little, baseball-sized thingy. The giant one to me completely and totally like moves away from the core competency of the Buzzball. Now you're just carrying like a jug of malt liquor that's been brought down to its most basic elements and then added into like some nightmare concoction.
Well, I would like to say this. When I see them in the store, I just remember literally standing there with Genevieve. There was something about a display that looked like somewhat like I can't explain it, but it was like otherwise seemed like a respectable display in the drugstore, only it was Buzzball biggies. And I don't see like how they would fit into my life either, especially the biggies. But I don't know if you even know about this.
Twisted tea is a gateway drink, Andrew.
No kidding. But that's the thing also about the Buzzball. Even the round version, it's not convenient. Like a skinny can of
something that was
Red Bull
flask-shaped.
would be, or flash
could fit in your pocket. You're right. Even the the small one is also kind of who's going to carry around. What are you going to juggle them? Are you carrying around three
I
baseballs?
kinda like that. But I will say that when we were at, I don't even know if you know about this or if maybe you knew about it, it slipped your mind. I still have never tried a Buzzball or a Buzzball Biggie, and I didn't think they were for me. But when we were having the picnic in Wisconsin, our friend Lisa showed up with a Buzzball Biggie and popped it right in the freezer. I don't think we ever cracked into it.
That was a veteran move, Lisa.
But I got to say, and this is in all seriousness, when I saw that at like an event that I was attending, it felt like, oh, it's that kind of a party. Like it inspired something in me. And even though we didn't end up cracking that Buzzball Biggie, it seriously, I think just by its presence had a bit of its intended effect on me. Because I was like,
it's sending a message.
It really was. And seeing Lisa roll up with that was honestly one of the coolest things. So I guess I don't know. Can I live in both worlds?
Andrew, I have drunken the Buzzballs that were in the icebox. And which you were probably saving for breakfast.
Okay.
Forgive me, they were delicious.
Okay, William.
So sweet and so enormous. So anyway, we got a couple Buzzballs. No, we went to this. We went to the grocery store, which was a kind of a weird scene. There was a loose dog in there who was nice, thankfully, but nobody knew who. Gigi was with us.
Okay,
Gigi was not loose.
Yeah.
Gigi was on a leash. We tried to go no leash on the beach. And it was great for about 5 minutes. And we were both commenting like, oh, isn't she doing well? And then like a friggin' gazelle, she ran up. You know, it's the kind of beach where there's like all these private homes that are along the kind of the beach. And they have, bluffs and things. And there's a lot of like no trespassing kind of signs going on. Like you cannot leave the beach through our yard kind of deal. And she just like gazelled her ass up into the yard of someone who had a very prominent no trespassing sign.
Yeah.
And she does this move where she can sense energetically if you're trying to get close enough to her. Like she has, much like Bubbles, does not respond to a lot of the things that other animals would have, like saying, hey, I got a treat for you, or come over here, hey, Gigi, sing-songy voice. She doesn't care about any of that. And in fact, if she senses that you're trying to get close enough to her where you could kind of secure her collar or something, she just always stays like 5 feet out of your reach.
And she has some instinct to know when it's like, hey, we're just over here to play, or we're trying to trap you into.
She senses a slight shift in the energy. So she gazelles up into these people's yards, and I'm like, God damn it. So now we got to go up there, and now it's like we have no choice but to trespass. And I'm hoping that it's one of those like fancy beach houses that the people who own it are so rich they don't even go to the beach house. You know what I mean? Which would be great for us because then we could trespass in their yard, and also would allow me to judge them because, like, how much money do you need? You have a beach house and you don't even go to it? What's wrong with you? So we're trespassing in the yard, and I'm like, thank goodness there's nobody in the house. This is cool. So I'm sending Becca because I feel like it's less threatening to have a lady in a sleeping bag coat looking for the dog as opposed to me. So I'm standing kind of down, kind of in this little pathway up into the no trespassing area. And Gigi is doing laps, and it's very sort of comical actually, because Becca's going around the house, and at some point I see this lady who's in this sunroom. I didn't realize she was there. She has a blanket over her lap. She stands up and walks to the window. Like, there was someone very much there, and there was someone in the house doing the kind of relaxation that could be very interrupted by what we were doing. It wasn't it's not like they're having a big chill in there, and it's like a bunch of grown-ups, and they're playing, Heard It Through the Grapevine. That is on the soundtrack, I believe, of The Big Chill. And they're having like a fun time, and we're just people their age who are just kind of like, hey, we got to get our dog. It's like a woman, maybe by herself with a blanket over her lap, who now sees me kind of next to her yard. And I was like, what is the international sign for, I'm so sorry, my mother-in-law's dog is in your yard, and I'm trying to get her out. And I just kind of said, like, I kind of waved, and I was like, I tried to make the shape of a dog with my hands. Like, it's a dog. There's a dog, and we're looking for it. And the amazing thing is, it worked. Her face lit up.
Really?
She understood that I was saying, we're looking. It probably happens, not infrequently.
Right.
I was like, we're trying to get this dog. And then luckily at about that moment, Gigi came back to me, and for whatever reason, got confused enough to come stand close enough where I could grab her by the collar.
Now let me ask
then
you a
I couldn't
question.
get Becca back. I was yelling because she was on the far side of the house.
Sorry, I stepped in
And I was
your joke.
yelling. I was like, because now that we had the dog, I was like, we got to get out of this yard.
And now you're making the shape of a woman with your hands,
Yes.
which is real. I
There's
mean,
also
honestly,
a woman that's loose.
And you're, a little bit.
Her shape is, it's not usually like this, but she's wearing a coat that's a sleeping bag, so her shape is different.
You're not doing the Betty Boop curves with your hands.
No, not with that sleeping bag coat on.
I'm going to ask you a question. So I could totally have this wrong, but I think of Becca as more of a rule follower, maybe in life. Or am I wrong about that? I mean, certainly compared to you, I guess everybody's a rule follower compared to you.
Yes, she is a rule follower compared to me, but it's not like. First of all, she was way less worried about the trespassing than I was.
Okay, because I was wondering about the off leash thing, because I wonder if this was something where you had to.
It
maybe
was her idea.
It was. Okay, see, this is really interesting. I thought, because it would be a very different dynamic, because this is her mom's dog, right?
Yes.
And so it would be, and I could just imagine her usually going on walks with the leash or whatever, and then she's on the beach with you, and it's Valentine's Day, and you're just like, hey, we can probably let Gigi off the leash, right? I could just see you maybe instigating that a little bit, and then her going along with it. But no, she's the one with the idea here.
I was thinking about it, but I did not want to suggest it, and I did not want to be responsible for a situation exactly like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I did not suggest it. She suggested it. And again, we took the leash off. And the thing about Gigi is she's totally non-aggressive. She's not really interested in other dogs. She's not aggressive towards anyone or anything. So I wasn't worried about her being off the leash in terms of like, going and getting into trouble with people on the beach. Like Rudy would, jump on people and stuff. Every time I'd have Rudy off leash, it was like, I was stressing the whole time about like, what is Rudy going to do? I wasn't worried about Gigi vis-a-vis other people and dogs. I was worried about her just not ever coming back to us.
Yeah, I would be terrified.
And, well, we had done a trial run a few weeks ago. We took her to an off-leash dog park, actually at Revolution Hall in Portland, which is a converted high school. And they've got this big grassy area that people bring their dogs. And we brought her there, and it was like this, should we take her off the leash? What's going to happen? And she was cool about it. So that was our sort of, that was our trial run.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got her back. We got her on the leash. The thing was, I then spent the rest of the weekend when we would see other people who had their dogs off leash. I had to try to let them know that I am cool and chill, and I do agree with these dogs being off leash, but we just can't have this dog off leash because she sucks.
No,
you know what I mean?
She does not. You take that back.
I didn't want people to think. I was very worried that people who had their dogs off leash were going to think that we were judging them because we had to have Gigi very much on the leash after that.
Okay, yeah.
Because I've been on the other side of that many times where it's like, Rudy is running amok and there's somebody who's being good and following the rules and they have their dog on a leash on the beach. Please don't at me, people who feel strongly about this topic. But so I've been judged by a lot of people who have their dog on a leash and they're doing the right thing and I'm doing the wrong thing. Now that the roles were reversed, I wanted everyone to know that I am cool and I'm cool with whatever goes out there.
I see. Not like, hey, I'm cool. I would be with a leashless dog if I could. You mean cool in that you're non-judgmental. Like, hey, man,
totally
everybody do their
non-judgmental
own thing. I see.
A dog,
That makes sense.
I mean, unless you have a dog that's got real documented behavioral issues. But like a dog running on the beach after a tennis ball is one of the most joyous things you could ever observe. And I want it to happen for as many dogs as possible. And there were a lot of them out there and they were having a great old time. So I didn't want anyone to think that I was not down with that because I was, in fact, very down with that for them.
And did you say that the woman that you sort of interrupted actually kind of smiled? And
Yes.
That's really nice because even if it happens a lot, you could see her being annoyed that, like, here we go again with people not following the rules. Then it becomes my problem.
I mean, I was so nervous to go up that little pathway because I knew there was going to be a no trespassing sign, and I knew that our only option for getting Gigi back was to trespass. I was really stressed about it.
Yeah, I believe it. And were you calling Gigi kind of loudly so it was very clear what you were doing in there too? Like, people don't go around just saying Gigi, Gigi, unless,
Yes,
they're struggling
we were
with
trying to
something.
demonstrate that there, but again, we didn't even know for the first 5 minutes that there was someone in the house.
Yeah.
So we were kind of just trying to get the dog and get out of there. There was this other funny thing, which was the dog is so slender that I thought, oh, good, she's trapped in this yard because I'm blocking the pathway to the beach. And then if you were to look past the house, there's a little walkway, and then there's a gate that's locked. She went between the metal of the gate. Like, so, and that's how she came back eventually to me. Like, Becca was walking around trying to find her, and then she just kind of like comes and just like an apparition. She just goes through the gate and comes back to me. So, anyway.
I feel like you're done with this story, but I'm not. Another thing that I'm thinking about here is, in my head, this woman is like sitting and reading a magazine or something in her sun porch. But she also may just be, it is 2026, she's probably reading on her phone. And a house like this probably has cameras all over the place. And you get little I'm just so old-fashioned in the way I think about the world. She probably got little notifications that there were people in the yard and was probably watching little videos of you guys clearly looking for a dog by the time you saw her.
You know what? I didn't even think about that. That is possible. It wasn't like I don't know. This doesn't matter to the camera question because you can look, my house was built in the 1930s and I have cameras on it. But it was not like a brand, like it was a kind of an older cottage. It kind of had a homey feel. The no trespassing sign was kind of handmade. I don't know what that means about cameras. They probably still had cameras. But I didn't even think about that. So she knew, she did not seem perturbed. She understood what was going on, and we got out of there, and everything was A-okay. We go to the grocery store, and there's a loose dog in the grocery store. At one point,
back there.
And Gigi did not like it in the grocery store. She was very overstimulated. So we go outside, me and her, and when I'm coming back, this couple comes out, and the dog leaves with them, and I think it's their dog or something, and they're like, "Is this your dog?" And I'm like, "No." "Is it yours?" They go, "No." I'm like, "Shit." So I have to go catch the loose dog and get the loose dog back into the grocery store for whomever it belongs to in the store. Because otherwise the dog was just going to be, MIA.
If the dog belongs in the store, maybe the dog is just out.
I never even thought about
on a runabout. So what happened?
The dog, you know what? No. By the way, nobody fessed up to owning the dog in the store.
So maybe the dog just was on a holiday.
I think you're right. I think the dog got into the store.
They finally got the dog out of the store.
And I brought him back in.
You brought him back in.
I brought him right back in.
Wait a second. So
I assumed the dog belonged to somebody in the store who was just a very careless owner, but you're right. No. The more logical explanation of that would probably be the dog was roaming around the neighborhood. Someone opened the door to the store. The dog went in.
Smelled food. Did it have a little knapsack? Did it have a little, what do you call the thing?
A bindle?
Did it have a little bindle over its shoulder?
The dog was running away from home.
Yes. Did it have a little suitcase that said New Orleans or bust? But wait a second, though. So you're outside with Gigi, kind of keeping Gigi calm, and then this dog goes running out. You keep Gigi on the leash or tie her up somewhere? You keep her on the leash?
I've got her on one hand on the leash.
My goodness, and then you find this other dog.
He didn't go far.
Okay.
I don't know the gender. I don't want to misgender the dog.
No,
it didn't go that far.
But the dog has a collar on, so you grab the collar.
Dog is a sweetie, too.
Okay, that's really sweet.
Wasn't a scary dog or anything.
And then you bring the dog back into the grocery store, and then you say,
thinking I'm a hero.
What, do you say something like, is this anybody's dog? Or you just bring it in, you let it go, and then you go back outside?
I returned it to its homeland, a.k.a. the produce section, the very, very sad produce section of this gas station.
Can I tell you about something that happened to me in the grocery store? Maybe at the same exact time this was happening to you. Now, I'm in my regular grocery store, the QFC on Holman Road, where
you were trying to leave the QFC, and someone kept bringing you back in.
They really did.
They were like, "Who's Andrew? Is this?"
They're like, "This guy belongs in the grocery store. Don't let him." He's running around chasing cars in the parking lot. Well, I do feel like my QFC, my experiences there are getting, I wouldn't say weird, but more interesting. First of all, I keep seeing my phlebotomist there. I've now seen my phlebotomist twice. I took a creep shot one time to send to you and my friend Hannah. Because
that's an old Hitchcock film, right? The phlebotomist always shops twice.
Yes. And then the one day I told you I saw my phlebotomist there for the first time, and he's a guy that I had a bit of a history with because he's not a very good phlebotomist. And I was so like a little bit rattled by seeing him, and then moments later, like within a few seconds, that woman came up to me and asked me to help her pay for her groceries. Remember, I told you this story, and I gave her some cash and then moved on. So that happened last week, I want to say. Now, this Friday or Saturday, I am in the same grocery store, and I'm in the beer section now. And I am looking for my beer, and for what it's worth, I'm going to get like a 6-pack of like lightish generic beer, like Coors Light or something, and then I was going to get like a Lucy or two, like a loose can of like a Bodhisattva or something. It's like a little treat, but I didn't want a whole 6-pack. It doesn't matter, but that's just kind of where I am. And as I'm reaching in to get like the kind of nicer beer, right, the IPA or whatever, the can of it, this young person comes up to me, and I felt like he was maybe high school age. I wasn't exactly sure. Seems very young, and says,
Did
hey,
he shoulder tap you?
I thought that's where things were going. But first of all, I'm really terrible at judging people's ages. But he comes up to me. He's a young person, like I said, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm new to drinking. Do you have any kind of advice on like what to get?" And I'm like, immediately, I'm just like, "Oh, this ends with this kid asking me if I will buy him beer." But there's also no harm in me answering this question. Like, it's kind of like when I play around with the scammers on my phone. I'm like, I know what my line is, and it's like, not clicking certain links or whatever, giving out personal information. This kid says, "Hey, I'm new to drinking," which is honestly how he opened up.
That's a great open, by the way.
It really was. And
this is something you learn in sales and other things. You make the person the hero. If you can make someone the hero, they are more likely to go along with whatever is happening.
He did. He looked at me and he said, "This man is an expert in drinking." But anyway, so I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, what do you? And I'm relatively friendly, but also like, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you like? He's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't know. And I gesture to the can of Bodhisattva, that IPA, an orange can in my cart. And I'm like, well, I like this stuff, but it's a specific kind of taste for IPAs. He's like, oh yeah, my dad, I think he said like, my dad drinks that. So that's like all my dad drinks. I'm like, okay, well then you probably know a little bit. He's like, I'm like, this is more of a heavier kind of situation. It's a heavier beer. I don't know if that's really what you're into or something. You might want to look at something lighter. Then he starts saying, well, I like, I've been to I think it's a Japanese beer, and I couldn't remember what's the Japanese beer that's served in all
you have
sushi restaurants.
Asahi, Sapporo.
Sapporo is what I was thinking of, but couldn't quite get there. But I'm like, oh yeah, like in a sushi restaurant. He's like, yeah, I really like that stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, the lighter stuff is going to be a little bit more on that end, and then I'm walking that way anyway to get my light beer, and so it's weird. It's both weird that this is happening, but also the kid isn't saying anything weird, and I'm just trying to keep it like this is the conversation we're having right now, is advice on beer that I would have with anybody who seems to be of age. And if any question about exchanging any kind of money for beer or me buying beer for anything, like obviously I'm out at that point.
Yes.
But I'm also not, I'm not acting like somebody whose hackles are up or who's being suspicious. I'm trying to be helpful but not engage too much. And then I'm like, I'm grabbing my light beer, and maybe this conversation goes on for 2 minutes or maybe around that. And then I'm just like, well, good luck. Nice chatting with you. And he's like, yeah, thanks. And then I saw him later, like kind of, he had chosen his beer, but then I think I saw him run back and swap it out one last time. And I assume I never saw him actually getting the beer, but what do you make of all of this?
You saw him in the pasta aisle asking someone, I'm new to spaghetti sauce.
Right.
What kind of spaghetti sauce do you like?
But what shaped noodle would Dan?
Oh, my dad only eats Rayo.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So I don't know. What do you make of it? Do you think that was a kid that was maybe leading up to asking me to buy beer and then just like decided not to, or was that just one of these earnest youth that I hear about who was just like honestly looking to go? He might have just turned 21 and was just like didn't know what beer to buy.
Well, the fact that you saw him with beer later tells me that he is old enough to buy it or has a convincing enough McLovin.
Well, no, I saw him in the store with the beer. I never saw him on the other side of the...
Right, but I mean, to me, the act of carrying the beer around the store, unless he was going to try to pull some other move at the register where he gives it then to an older person. I'm going to assume because he was carrying the beer around that he's 21 years old. And the fact that he never asked you, this is the thing. Ultimately, Andrew, this is a compliment to you, and let me explain why. You are a very nice, friendly person in the world, and my feeling is if he was going to try to ask a favor, he wouldn't have known that you were going to demur. You're going to say, "Sorry, man, I can't help you with that." But you're not going to send a mean vibe to him where he immediately shut down the plan to ask, "Could you buy me this beer?" Because you are a nice person in the world. So I think if that was ever the plan, he would have asked you.
Yeah, he would have gotten there because we were pretty. Like I said, we were standing there in the aisle.
You were opening beers. You were doing.
I was trying them. I got these. I gave him
a keg stand.
I gave him a flight of beers. We did a little tasting. The people at QFC at a certain point did ask us both to leave. So anyway, yeah.
I
So
do
anyway, it
think-
was a strange thing. Like I was like, this has got to be another. Like people keep approaching me in this grocery store. This has got to be another thing, right? But I don't think it was a thing. I think he was just honestly looking for drinking advice, which you would think I'd be better at.
Well, people, would ask me about like cocktails or a whiskey or whatever, and I would just always say, for someone who has consumed as much alcohol as I have in my life, I do not have any great tips and tricks. I'm not, I couldn't tell you about the proper, like Becca was trying to buy for some friends of ours, it was somebody's birthday, and she wanted to buy him a nice bottle of like some kind of a whiskey thing or a bourbon. I was like, it's like,
get a Buzzball biggie.
I was like, yeah. Get 3 Buzzballs, so you know what I mean. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like for somebody who's had as much alcohol in their life as I have, I don't have very sophisticated taste or very good advice on this or that. I was just going to say as a side, I don't want to sound like a prude, but I always find it mildly interesting when they are doing samples of alcohol in the store, whether it's the Trader Joe's or the regular grocery store. Now, for most adult-sized people who are allowed to drink, a tiny taste of wine is not going to put your BAC into a dangerous range. And yet, for some reason, it just strikes me as like, all right, we're trusting people to not get weirdsies on this.
Oh, because people drove to the grocery store, you mean?
Well,
Or
either
just-
they drove to the grocery store or just, I don't know. It's like, here's the thing. I've never eaten a pierogi and then just thought like, I got to have another one, another one, another one, another one, and then blacked out on pierogies. I have done that on alcohol. Like, I feel like alcohol
I've
is
done
its
it
own,
on pierogies.
it's its own. Alcohol is its own category that there is for a lot of us, a lot of impulse control issues around that we don't have around, let's just say, again, I'm going to pick a bad example, Little Smokies. I'm trying to think of the things that are typically being sauteed up in that little, hot plate thing with the samples. And again, I'm not judging anyone because, again, most people probably have a less complicated relationship with alcohol than I do. But every time I walk through the store and they're like, hey, do you want some? I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Of course, some people have a more complicated relationship with pierogies than you do, though. So
That is true.
Everybody's got their own journey.
Yes. Well, we had a lovely Valentine's, and then Sunday, it was really like beautifully sunny on the beach, and we took a nice long walk, and it was an absolutely lovely. Then we drove back. We took kind of the circuitous route home, so we went up to Cannon Beach and had a little lunch there, and just walked around, and it was a really, really nice weekend. So that was great. I'm guessing that you kept things closer to home as you were unloading bowling alleys at your house.
Yeah. I had a really nice weekend too, but it wasn't anything special. We didn't travel or anything, but it was just like kind of a nice weekend. I ended up, this is kind of unrelated, but we had a whole bunch of people signed up to volunteer on Sunday. So I actually just sort of took the day off from my volunteer gig, just dropped off some coffee, which kind of just gave me like a free Sunday. On the occasion that I'm taking off that volunteer gig, usually I have something to fill it in. You know what I mean? It's, because I'm doing this thing, or I'm going to do this game, or I'm going to watch this football game, or what have you. And this time I was kind of like, oh, okay, freebie. So Vives and I kind of wandered around Ballard a little bit, which was very nice. Went back to the spatula store. I was very proud. I went to the spatula store there. What's the...
Is that kitchen store that's
the nice,
on Ballard Avenue?
Culinary Essentials, I think.
I have never entered that store without buying something.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's so hard not to buy everything in there. But then Genevieve was sort of, this is a little bit fraught. We need to get her on the show anyway because she's all mad about what her sign is. And she's now like...
Her like zodiac sign?
Yeah, it came up the other day, and she's like, because she's she's a March baby, so that makes her a Pisces, right? And then she finally read what Pisces means or something, and she was like really angry because she's like, I'm not a Pisces, and now she's just going around saying she's an Aries, which she's not, but she will tell you she is.
I absolutely support this. If people can change their legal name, can't they? Which is a real thing. Can't they change their astrology, which is not a real thing?
Which is not a real thing. And also, you should know, neither one of us believe in it, but it just galled her when it came up in conversation the other day. Yeah. And she looked it up. She's like, this is not me. And so then she was having a cabin weekend with some friends, and one of the one of the people there does do charts. And so I think Genevieve is getting her chart done or something via email by this woman. So I told her she can come on the show and talk about this whole situation. And I know a lot of listeners have already been writing in to say, the universe is changing and shifting. So it could be that the charts don't match up with our traditional signs or what have you. But
tell me about this bowling alley that you were unloading. That's so freaking cool.
So on Saturday, we spent the day or a chunk of the afternoon unloading literally probably the heaviest thing I've ever helped lift in my life. I mean, these things were so heavy. We're getting our basement redone, like this kind of kitchenette area, and there was this area kind of that wasn't really originally part of the plan. We knew it maybe could be, but when the workers knocked a wall out, we realized, there's a lot more space in this one part of the basement than we thought, and it could be good for some storage. And so they actually even moved the hot water heater back a little bit yesterday to make some more room for this, or last week, I should say. And then the plan is to kind of build walls around this area, which I just assumed would be like sheetrock and, plaster and whatever walls are made of these days. Clearly, I'm not a golfer. But, I just pictured we'll sheetrock the walls or whatever. And but I guess it's both cheaper and apparently maybe more interesting if we were to use wood. Because he's like getting in these corners, building in this particular little cubby sheetrock. He's like, it's going to be so much more work, and we're going to the second use stores to look for
you're gonna have to fur that out, Andrew. It's
what's
just
that?
Too much furring. So you have to create something that the sheetrock can adhere to, and that's a bunch of blocking and furring. It's a major hassle.
Is that where you wear a tail while you build it? That's furring.
You scritch and you skip.
Did he scritch or did he?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so at first, when we were first, we're kind of just making these decisions on the fly as our guy is sort of tearing things apart and seeing what our options are. And the original plan was to maybe use butcher block, maybe even a butcher block backsplash, which I was a little bit questioning. We're going to see how it all plays out because we don't want too much wood in the basement. It could be overdone. But he was at a second use store and he starts sending, I don't know, on Thursday night or Friday night or something, he starts sending Genevieve and I these photos of reclaimed pieces of bowling alley floors, from the actual bowling alleys and some gym floors as well. And we realized, okay, well, we can use the bowling alley floors to kind of box off this new storage area where we're going to have these built-in closets. But I kind of finish them down so they look kind of nice, but also maybe leave a little bit of the signals that it was bowling alley wood to begin with, sort of. So I'm very, and it's incredibly thick. And also the way it came with all these bolts in it, some of which had to be he took this angle grinder and was zipping them off. And we were all working on it together. His son showed up. This is our main contractor. His son showed up who helps him with stuff, his teenage son, I want to say, maybe a little bit older than that. I'm not sure. And then at one point, all four of us are just working in the driveway. The contractor's wife rolled by at one point just to see if anybody needed lunch. It was family day in the driveway while we're lifting these. We're guessing 300-pound or more slabs off of this trailer that he rented. Our garage right now, I'm worried that the garage is going to tip over under the weight of these things leaning up against the wall. It is so damn heavy. But it's kind of fun. We had a little work day in the driveway, and it's exciting to be able to, I don't know much about this stuff, and I'm in no shape to be that much help, but it was just nice to all work on this together. It's a pretty cool day, to be honest with you.
So are you going to rip them down? Is he going to rip them down and kind of into the size he needs and then his Vives, or is he going to refinish them or kind of get them all glossy so they're bowling alley-ish again?
Well, so they already have that gloss. I think we want to be. I think it kind of depends. I think we want some contrast between the shelves and the walls themselves. That's kind of a big thing for me. So I think that we should have the walls of this little cubby area probably finished a little bit more so it looks kind of respectable and doesn't have that super shiny bowling alley look where the shelves themselves can be sort of the accent there. The shelves will also be made of it. And I sort of feel like maybe the shelves can be the pieces that really say bowling alley, where the other pieces are maybe just a little bit more finished and fine. That's my idea for it. But like I say, he's very much into well, let's get it in there. Let me cut these and kind of see how it works. And he's very detail oriented. So far, I was telling you before the show, this process has been really fun and exciting. I'm kind of purposely not saying like kind of too many details about this company, only because like it's like, I mean, everything so far has been it's been an interesting process. I've loved working with this guy. I think every member of his family has been here to meet Bingo at some point now. It's just like, hey, have you met Bingo the cat? He refers to Bingo as his best friend. So like, it's been really fun, but it's like reading a book. I don't know if it's good or not until I get to the last page of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's why I'm kind of like not mentioning too much about the place, because I just wanted to see the project to the end. But like, it has been unlike any experience I've had before. It's very interesting. And again, to kind of like, I feel like I could be wrong about this. You have a lot of ideas, obviously, in the renovation of your house, but you sort of, would you say it's fair, and this might actually not be fair as I start to set this up, that your dad is sort of like kind of a point person on all of, or at least was at some point in the project, like the point person on like how things could get done, or like kind of the work person who can sort of see the big vision of like, well, we need this person in here to do this or that? Or is that more you and I'm not giving you enough credit?
That's more me. I'm sort of, I mean, we're kind of done now mostly, but at the time I was functioning as what you would call the general contractor. So, which, you know, most big projects, if it's a really big project, oftentimes you'll hire a general contractor, because their thing is really to kind of be the traffic director of the whole thing, to make sure that the sheetrock guys are in on this week so that the painters can come in on that week, and the tile guys. And when you have a bunch of trades, when you have a bunch of people that are doing different parts of it. Now, mostly it's just been me and my dad. And so mostly I've been a general contractor just supervising one person, which is my 71-year-old father. But there have been some people, you know, we had a tile guy in here and electrical and stuff. And in those cases, I brought those people in.
I see. Okay, cool. So anyway, this has all been brand new to me, and I didn't know exactly what it was going to be like. And the fellow we're working with he's a real character, and we all seem to get along really well. And so I don't know, it's been fun. Like so far with all the demo, it's just been demo, you know, which is also interesting. Like we opened up another part of the wall and we saw all the rat shit. All the rat shit where we knew animals. Does that solve the mystery
of what that smell was?
Sort of. We didn't find any carcasses yet. I think that fell to a different area. Carcass. But that's a pavement thing, right?
Yes.
There's this song. Well, never mind. I don't have to get into it. There's this line in a song that I'm obsessed with that always makes me think of you, because it's a little tribute to Pavement. But anyway, we did not see any carcasses, but there was this one area where it was sealed up, and now it's an open space kind of in the storage area, and you can shine your light back there and just see like so much little pebbles. I'm assuming rat. I don't know, maybe mouse, but I'm rat. I don't know, some sort of rodents were getting in and out. So once they tear further into that area, I'm hoping that they'll be in a position where they maybe can, like, if they find an actual, you know, point of egress for these animals, maybe seal it up. I don't know how far their services extend.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
Top Story today was submitted by associate producer Phyllis Fletcher early this morning. Phyllis must have come early to send us this Washington Post story. Or was it actually
came in
yesterday?
Last night, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was not on my email last night. I was, though, very early this morning. It was weird. It's like a holiday, although we dialed up at the normal time. So I guess it should. I had it in my mind that I wanted to sleep in this morning for some reason. Like I wanted to treat myself to it being President's Day. And then I woke up like 6 in the morning.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because you know me, I'll always sleep as late as possible. I'll sleep until noon if given my druthers. And then as I was getting ready today, I was thinking, well, like, I still had to get up to do TBTL today, but 10 o'clock is is a great time for me. But I was sort of thinking like, for you, this is still probably feels late in the day. This doesn't feel like a holiday to you, but you've lost the ability to sleep in, right? I assume.
To a degree, yes. I think that. Well, on Sunday I slept in until like 8:15, which felt pretty late for me. And it's like I did not see this coming for me, because I really do love sleeping. The other thing is I oftentimes go to bed absurdly early. Like I'll go to bed at 8 o'clock, and then I'll wake up at 9 or something, or I'll kind of like come back to, and then I'll send Becca a text saying goodnight. So she doesn't know that I was going to bed at 8, because I feel like there's something that's like undiagnosed depression or something.
But then you can fall back asleep. See, that's my worry about going to bed early.
Well, yeah, I can really saw some logs, man. So I can go to sleep at 8 and get up, but then again, I will wake up naturally at 5:30 at that point. Because you're talking that's 8.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So anyway, all that is to say, I got to this email early this morning, and it was from our friend Phyllis Fletcher, and it's actually from the Washington Post. Headline: Radio host David Greene says Google's AI podcast tool stole his voice. So David Greene was one of the hosts of Morning Edition. He's a buddy of mine. The only thing I can say bad about this guy is he's a little too into the Pittsburgh Steelers for my liking. But that's just, that's a personal problem between him and Mike Tomlin that he needs to address. But no, David and I were really good friends back in the day at NPR. We would go out and have drinks and do karaoke. And he was a super sweet guy. His wife, Rosie, is just amazing. Love the guy. And people apparently kept emailing him saying oh, congratulations on being the voice of this Google program, which is it's called Notebook LM. It's described. Oh, by the way, this is Will Aramis writing in the Post. This is Notebook LM is Google's buzzy artificial intelligence tool that spins up podcasts on demand. So he's getting emails from people saying oh, this is so cool that they used your voice for this thing, David. And he was like, they did. And so he listened to it. And then he had some lawyers listen to it, and he is now suing Google for basically using his voice without his permission. He said to the Washington Post, "My voice, it's the most important part of who I am." Google says these allegations are baseless. The sound of the male voice in Notebook LM's audio overviews is based on a paid professional actor that Google hired. I didn't know about this. There is this weird kind of I don't know what you would call it, Andrew, not a ratio, but what they basically did was David's attorneys, by the way, the I think it's this, is this his firm? No, maybe it's Google's firm. Somebody's using Boyes, Schiller, and Flexner. I don't know if that's David Boyes, the famous David Boyes.
Wow.
Who was part of the Clinton impeachment.
Yeah,
and
right.
He's one of the more, it could just be someone related to him or an unrelated Boyes. But anyway, they're in the mix. They hired, David Greene's attorneys hired an outside agency to listen to his voice and the fake voice to try to decide if they think, in fact, that this is ripping him off. And they came up with, let me try to find this here, in there was a data point. They basically said it's a 60% chance that this AI voice is based on David Greene, which doesn't sound very high to me, but it's actually based on how they rank this stuff, it's actually considered to be very high. If it's over 0, I guess it's considered to be a pretty decent likelihood. So anyway, they hired an outside firm to basically say, look, yeah, we think this sounds like David. And then my favorite part of the entire article was that our buddy Mike Pesca makes an appearance at the end of the article weighing in on it. And Mike, as he often does, has a very sage take on the whole thing. He's basically saying it's not only that they're ripping David Greene's voice off, but they're making his voice the voice of a really crummy AI slop. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not just that they're using a voice that sounds a lot like his voice. It's that they're then making that voice do an annoying thing on the internet.
Yeah,
which is one of these AI slop, quote unquote, podcasts where it's just kind of AIing up, text to speech and calling it a podcast, but probably not in a very intentional way. Nothing like what we do here on this show.
No, no.
So here is the actual audio files. This is the real David Greene. I want to get your take on this, Andrew. This is the real David Greene. I believe this is him. He hosts the show Left, Right, and Center, which comes out of KCRW.
Is that what he's doing now?
Looking broadly at this, is this an arc that has been developing in Washington, or is there something about the Trump era that has made this a distinctly different feel when it comes to Capitol Hill?
So that is the real David Greene, and this is the AI program that he says sounds like him.
So looking bigger picture, is this just, the latest step in a long polarization trend, or is there something really different about the Trump era, something that makes Capitol Hill feel distinct right now?
What do you think?
Wow. So
it starts out not sounding like him, and then it starts to sound a lot like him in my read.
Because it's more than just, it sounds a lot like him, I think. But the interesting thing is, it's not just the voice, but it's the way of speaking as well. You got to kind of take those together, right? Like it's like the pauses, the rhythm of the question. Like it's very clear. And I was a little bit. Were those the exact same quote, or just kind of similar parts of conversation?
I think similar. I'll play them both again. Okay,
But do you mind if I ask? And I don't know if the article gets into this, but did they create these? Like, did the Washington Post for this story use the program to create these moments that sound specifically like moments of real interviews with David Greene, or is this literally from their podcast? In other words,
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, all right. Did that make sense, though? You understand my question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So here is this is the real David Greene again.
And looking broadly at this, is this an arc that has been developing in Washington, or is there something about the Trump era that has made this a distinctly different feel when it comes to Capitol Hill?
Okay, and here's AI.
So looking bigger picture, is this just, the latest step in a long polarization trend, or is there something really different about the Trump era, something that makes Capitol Hill feel distinct right now?
So it's kind of adjacent to what David was saying.
Yeah. Okay.
In the first one, it gives you a sense.
Yeah.
Google said that they hired a paid actor who was known for being able to impersonate David Greene. So,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
They're clear on this.
we hired a David Greene impersonator.
Yeah. No, we hired the top David Greene impersonator that we could find to do this. There's also apparently, so not everybody agrees that this is our friend David Greene. Online, users have ventured numerous guesses as to who the AI podcaster's voices most resemble. Several have named David Greene, but others have mentioned former tech podcaster Leo Laporte.
I don't know that.
Remember, shout out Leo Laporte.
Oh, no, I don't think I know Leo Laporte. Okay.
Oh, dude, he was a legend. I think he still, and then he got in trouble. He was a tech guy who was on lots of radio stations and lots of TV things and had this whole thing going. In fact, he was one of the kind of, I think, early streamers. Like he sort of figured out that he could do this, tech advice show that people would call in. And I think he was one of the first people to really monetize it. He was making a crap load of money. And because on his show, he would share his screen, if I remember right, he was having an extramarital affair, and it somehow was popping up in the screen that Leo Laporte was sharing on his YouTube show or something.
And this was early on, right? Yeah, this was an early example of this. Now that you say that, I think I know the name through that story.
Yeah. Some people thought it sounded like Dax Shepard. But I don't think it sounds like Dax Shepard. I think it sounds more like David than it does. There's also, again, this article is kind of long, and I printed it out as I'm wont to do, but then I didn't highlight anything, as I'm also wont to not do, because there was something in here in the legalese that basically said that it came down to what David's lawyers have to prove. And my sense of it is, I'm just kind of doing this from memory now, it's kind of interesting. They don't have to prove... It's weird. The burden of proof for them is not as much as you would think, basically. You know what I mean? They don't have to uncover some emails through discovery where the Google people are going we gotta, rip off David Greene's voice. It's some other thing where basically they think that they can meet the legal threshold for this to actually, I guess, sue them and, I don't know, get money or something. It doesn't say anything in the article about how much he's asking for either. I think he's just suing them. Maybe that's part of damages if they're found guilty on that.
Oh, I wonder also, it seems like the real goal here would not to necessarily get money, but to stop it from happening.
That, and you know what, actually, that is something David says at the end of the article, basically, just says he says, Greene says he isn't lobbying for new laws that would risk chilling innovation. He just thinks Google should have asked his permission before releasing a product based on a voice that he believes is essentially his. I'm not some crazy anti-AI activist, he said. It's just been a very weird experience.
I've noticed more and more, this is like the third quote I have heard from somebody in the past week or so where they're saying, no, we're not against AI. We just weren't using it in this case. Like the one I'm thinking of is, did you clock at all the Guy Fieri commercial during the Super Bowl? Did you know about that? Just I'm a normal guy, and he's they make him up, they get rid of all of his flashy look, all of the signature looks.
It was very uncanny and unsettling to see.
It was weird, yeah.
see him as just a guy, right? That's
right.
the concept or
That's
something?
the concept, yeah. And there was a teaser video for it where they showed like clippers coming near his head and then they flashed to him as like normal guy Fieri, or just a guy or whatever they called him. And when we saw the teaser, I'm like, oh, they used AI to like kind of...
Oh, that's how they unfietied him?
I was convinced of that. I was really convinced of that. And then the actual commercial ran during the Super Bowl, and then I was poking around a little bit, and I found a statement from the company that said AI was not used in this process. It was, we used, practical effects and makeup and some would it be CGI? Like we used effects, we used post-processing effects, but not AI. And there is a difference there. But the statement went on to say explicitly, like, we are not against the use of AI. While we're not against it, in this case, we didn't happen to use it, but they were like bending over backwards not to make the AI community angry.
I didn't even tell you this, but I spent my first ever afternoon in a Guy Fieri restaurant last week on Thursday. Because my hotel, remember I was raving about that hotel in LA? And the people that work there are great. They did not make this decision, but I was very disappointed on Thursday. I had this nice little 2-hour window after we'd done our TBTL stuff and before my flight, and I needed to do some computer work. And they have a great rooftop pool at this hotel, and it was a sunny day on Thursday in LA. I was all excited to go sit up there and break out my laptop and do a little Concur work and catch some vitamin D. And I get into the elevator, and this very muscle-bound guy goes, "Do you have a wristband?" And I'm like, "No." By the way, again, it's 2 in the afternoon. And I go, "No." And he goes, "Are you part of the Jordan event?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Pool's closed, restaurant's closed." I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's a private event." And I thought, well, that's weird because they didn't give us a discount on the hotel room.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
no
kidding. And also, is he really being this short with you?
He was. Listen, to be fair, he wasn't. I'm making him sound slightly more brusque than he was. But what he also was not was like grasping that it was kind of weird to me that as a patron of the hotel, I was being just told flatly I can't use some of the hotel's facilities that are part of the cost of staying at the hotel. So he goes, so I was going to go to the roof, and he goes, "What floor do you want?" I go, "I guess the first floor." So he hits the first floor. I go down. Then I'm going to go get some lunch. There's a little restaurant bar in the kind of lobby area of this hotel. I go over there. I asked somebody, "Are you guys doing lunch?" And they were like, "No, it's closed for the Jordan people." Because I forgot that that last weekend was the NBA All-Star game in LA. And so specifically, not just Nike, but the Jordan brand took over the entire hotel to be adjacent to where the All-Star game was or whatever. And so it was just like millions of influencers walking around in complete head-to-toe Nike gear, carrying big shopping bags that had shoe boxes in them of like exclusive Jordan drop that so-and-sos were getting. And I was kind of over all of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, again, I felt like that was really rude. I did try to sneak in, Andrew.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
What kind of shoes were you wearing?
Ironically, Adidas.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
Ironically, I was wearing my Rod Lavers, and I did have some Nikes with me. I just wasn't wearing them in that moment. But so I basically, I go downstairs, I walk around, I find out that they're not going to let me get something at the restaurant bar because that's also for Jordan people only. So now I'm like, I'm going to go back upstairs. I put on my sunglasses because I thought it made me look cooler or something. It made me look like a person who would be allowed to be there.
Were they the sunglasses with the camera?
They were not. They were not. I can send you a picture of this. I literally took a picture of myself trying to analyze in the hotel mirror, does this look like a guy who you're going to stop from going to a Jordan party at a rooftop pool? And so I get in the elevator, and I'm in a different elevator, so I'm not in the one with the security guard. And I go upstairs, and the elevator opens. And there is a guy who I can tell is kind of at a sort of a podium thing, whatever, and he's checking people in. But I just walk in with my sunglasses on, just like, I belong here. Yeah. I should be here. And I walk right past him. And I think what really killed me, what really foiled my plan was that it hadn't really started yet.
Oh.
If it was in full swing, I think I might have been able to get away with it. But I was kind of the only person, and I kept... So I walk into the restaurant, and I can see people are kind of like, this guy doesn't look Jordan-y, despite the sunglasses. Ironically, by the way, Andrew, these sunglasses are from the Nike employee store in Beaverton.
Okay, see?
So, I mean, that should have gotten me some kind of cool guy status, Nike status. But anyway, I get through the restaurant, I can tell the energy is people are trying to clock me, but nobody's stepped up to say anything to me. Also, by the way, because this is now my life, everyone who works there is 20 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. So nobody wants to be the person who steps up and kind of says, like, out of here, dude. And then finally, I get around to almost where the pool is, and the guy kind of steps right out in front of me. He goes, are you here as part of the Jordan event? And then I play dumb. I go, no, is there a Jordan event? And he goes, yeah. And I go, so the pool is closed? He goes, yeah. I go, the restaurant is closed? He goes, yeah, it's all closed for a private event. I was like, okay. So then I slink back to the elevators, and I hit
you
down.
Tried one single tear.
And then it formed into the Jump Man. And I was like, you're not going to let a guy who can cry the Jump Man logo? So then I go back to the elevator, and now this time it's the elevator with the security guy in it, who already told me I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah, you have no
and I just I get in I was like a dog that had eaten an entire frozen lasagna. I just get into the elevator and I just look down at the ground.
And just spray diarrhea all over the place.
Yeah. So anyway, but so what happened was I now had this, and I learned this term from you, Andrew. I had sort of a, what is it, donut? You don't like a donut of time. You do like probably a real donut occasionally. What do you call it when you've got kind of an awkward amount of time?
Well, maybe I say
day?
A hole in the day, sort of.
Hole in the day.
Yeah, something like that. I don't love holes.
So I was, this is like perfect. I'm going to sit out by the pool for an hour and a half. I'll jump in the lift. I'll go to Burbank Airport. It'll be fine. Well, I'm leaving the hotel now, and I'm not going to go to some other place. So I just go to the Burbank Airport, and I go through security, which there's like zero security. I mean, there's zero line. It's super fast. I love the Burbank Airport, for the record, but I go through security. I'm like, where are the restaurants? They go, they got the Guy Fieri one. And like, I swear every item on the menu had something called donkey sauce on it. Which
I think I've heard of that maybe through you, right? Is that I really am
feel like
with this
I don't
world.
think I knew. I think if I knew there was something called donkey sauce, I would have brought it up a lot on this show.
Oh, because I forgot
it.
Heard
That's also
this
very
term,
possible.
and I guess I can't imagine hearing it from anybody but you.
Camaro Kev, I think could. It seems like it could be in Camaro Kev's wheelhouse.
Do they? Yeah, I mean, do they go in for that? I don't know.
I just mean I could see them being in Vegas and going to the diners, driving and dives thingy or whatever.
Yeah, do we know what donkey sauce is? It's probably something that most of America knows, and you and I are just.
I'm
we don't
guessing
play in
it's
these
like
spaces.
a Thousand Island type of deal.
Whenever
something.
anybody's got a special sauce, that's what it is, right? It's some sort of Russian dressing, Thousand Island.
I had. Yeah, basically like a Russian dressing, something of that sort. I did not get one of the smash burgers with donkey sauce on it, but I did also have the sweetest but most kind of extra server. He was one of those. He was probably in his mid-20s. He was one of those guys that literally, like, when he walks in, he said something to me like, "You look spectacular today, and I hope you're having an absolutely blessed moment. And we need to nourish you. I'm going to get you set up." Like, it was so much.
I couldn't handle that
spiel, and then I noticed that as he was checking everybody out, he would give them a quote. I actually videotaped him giving me my quote. Let's see if I can play this even just like through my phone into the microphone. This was the person, I should say. It would be amazing if his name was also Guy. If everybody had to change their name to Guy and they had to change their sign to Pisces.
Just a guy.
To work at this place. This is him giving me my parting message at the Guy Fieri restaurant.
We gotta get this. It's all content. All right, so the quote is, I love the light because it shows me the way, but I enjoy the darkness because it will bring me the stars.
I love the light because it will show me the way, but I love the darkness because it will show me the stars. That was my my adios from the Guy Fieri restaurant.
Okay, God damn it, we got to get out of here. But this is. We have too
I
much
had a
to talk
feeling
about.
today was going to end up being an outrageously long show.
We got to get out of here.
Holiday.
I'm gonna. It's a holiday for Genevieve, so Genevieve's home. When Genevieve is home on holiday, it feels like a holiday to me. So I feel like I should go. You should go get breakfast or something. Maybe we'll go to this place. No, I could never handle this kind of energy. So. You are seeing this person who is your server, right? Not just host, but server. You already are kind of catching this energy off of him, and then you're seeing as he's like sort of people are paying their checks at the table or something. You're clocking that he's giving them these quotes, and so you're ready to do. Is this a surreptitious recording? Do you just
No, I told him.
Okay,
I was like, I got to get this on tape.
Okay, because how does he? So then he approaches you and he says, "Okay, well, thanks. I hope everything was great. I hope you're nourished and blessed or whatever the hell, and he gives you the little thing, and you're giving him a 22% tip or whatever you're giving him, and then he says, "Okay, now is the part where I give you a quote." How does he like ramp up to it? Is this something I do with all my customers or what?
I heard him say to the guy next to me, who, by the way, from what I was able to tell, spoke essentially zero English, which added a real spin to their interactions.
Oh, yeah.
Because our guy was really delivering a lot of flair and a lot of energy. And I think it was kind of going over the head of the guy that was sitting next to me. But anyway, I heard him say to the guy sitting next to me, I always make up a poem, or I give you a quote to after your bill. So I heard this already. So I don't know if he repeated it to me, but when he came over, I said, I got to videotape this. And he said, okay. And that's when he gave me. But my thing was different than his thing. He doesn't give the same.
Yeah.
Doesn't give the same little bromide to each person. He mixes it up.
And a real bromide.
Right, putting the bro in bromide.
So then maybe that's.
For the record, I did not hate this energy. I mean, it would have been a lot under certain circumstances, but in the moment, it did not bother me as much as you might have thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I just have a real gag reflex when it comes to like cringe sort of, and that kind of like, we're going to, what did he say? Not nurture you, but we're going to, whatever.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something about like, and then it was also the thing where like, I ordered like a salad and a grilled cheese sandwich. I guess I could have gotten donkey sauce on the grill. I didn't want to risk it with the donkey sauce, if I'm being honest. But it was like I ordered what I ordered, and it was like, his response was like I had just solved the Da Vinci Code of ordering. Like, he couldn't believe what a good order I had just done.
Okay, that
you know
I
what I mean?
mind. I like a good attaboy. By the way,
it was a huge attaboy.
You can buy famous donkey sauce in a bottle itself. It's like a garlic aioli, it says.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, it straight up says on the bottle, donkey sauce, garlic aioli. Now, the interesting thing about this is I'm in flavortownsauces.com. So what else does flavortownsauces.com have to offer me?
I'm on flavortownsauces.org.
Yeah, with David Greene.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Anyway, so that was my experience within the Guy Fieri verse. But this is where I have to say this, because otherwise we're going to get emails even on a President's Day. Yes, we know that Guy Fieri is, by all accounts, an absolutely solid human being and great to the people he works with and who work for him. And that's all really good. I am sort of, I would say I'm generally neutral on Guy Fieri. I would say this. I definitely don't think me roasting him is me being funny or original at this point. There was definitely a time when that was my go-to, and that time has passed.
There is a roasted garlic sauce you can get as well. And I this isn't something like that I want to take away. I don't think I'd be able to handle, no matter what kind of restaurant it is, I'm not able to handle those kinds of conversations where there's even the glancing reference to my energy or you know what I mean? Like whatever that is, no matter what the setting is, that would not be for me. But I'm not trying to take away anybody's flavor town. Go to it.
And he definitely, I will say this too, he was the only server who did this. This was completely his freelance.
Yeah,
it wasn't like the training was every time somebody comes in, you got to give them this spiel. This was all his invention.
Yeah, no, good for
him. And I kind of wondered a little bit for her. The thought that I had was, what is it like to be one of the normal servers at the Guy Fieri place in Burbank?
How do they feel about their colleague, you mean?
Yeah, because it's like I was there for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I, again, I didn't mind it, but like I wasn't not pulling a double. I was not pulling a 5-hour shift where and I'm kind of cheek to jowl with this guy who's doing this to every one of his tables. Like, I wonder if that would start to kind of wear me down as a fellow employee more so than as a customer.
And you get a sense of how many of these quotes does he have? Does he have like 25 and just
is it like
starts
my
at the
stories?
beginning
He's
again?
got 4 of them. He
Right.
forgets
I mean,
when
how
he's
many,
told them.
How many times have you heard the same ones over and over? Is he making them up? I mean, there is something about. So he did. That was my other question, which I think is pretty self-evident. But he that was just off the dome, right? He didn't.
That was off the dome, but I don't know if his dome
guide.
also invented it or if he's got like a. Like a sort of a recipe box with 3x5 cards with different quotes in it that he goes through, in between tables just to kind of remind himself. I don't know if he's making these up, if they're originals. I got to be honest with you. And again, it sounds like I'm being less than nice to this guy. I really appreciated this guy's enthusiasm. but it did seem like maybe he was making these up.
Well, here's one. I typed in, I like the light because it shows me the way, but I like the dark. And I just wanted to see if the internet would finish that for me. And yes, this is posted 6 years ago on Reddit, which is, I think Reddit's getting great SEO these days. It's like often the first result. I will love the light for it shows me the way, yet I will endure the darkness because it shows me the stars.
All right.
And it's,
well, there you go.
I don't know how to pronounce it. The first name is O-G, but it's not, it's not O period, G period. So it's Og or Og Mandino, and I'm looking up who that is. An American writer, I see. So
I'm trying to think if I'm more or less impressed. I think I'm more impressed. Am I more impressed that he actually took the time to like learn a bunch of these kind of inspirational things versus he's just making them up? Which is more impressive, if these are originals, or if he actually took the time to do some research?
I think if he's remembering them, I mean, that's something, I guess.
It feels a little, to me, it feels more impressive. It feels like more preparation for him to like have this thought. I'm going to really brighten the experience of some customers. I'm going to learn some kind of inspirational quotes, so I've got them right at the tip of my brain. And then he went to the internet or whatever, and he learned them. I think that's actually shows more forethought than just, I'm gonna little Dicky something off the dome.
Right. But it also is
something.
But the thing is, it just reeks of quoteoftheday.com or whatever, where you can, just reeks of donkey sauce.
That's part of why I didn't get it, because it had garlic in it. I was like, I'm not going to be rocking my neighbors on this flight with some kind of garlic aioli breath.
And it was. But anyway, Og, it is pronounced Og because the guy's, this writer's name is Augustine Mandino the second, not junior, but the second for some reason. And he's an American writer. He wrote the best-selling book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. And so he's just like one of those guys who's kind of like he's probably a quote machine, right? His whole thing in life is, I felt like I started the closing.
He's one of the 7 sharks you beat in heaven.
Right. The Greatest Salesman in the World is a book written by Og Mandino that serves as a guide to philosophy of salesmanship and success, telling the story of Hafid, a poor camel boy who achieves a life of abundance. So anyway, I just, in a certain way...
first published in 1968, reissued in 1983. Okay. I wonder how this holds up.
Yeah, me too. Written
very
by
interesting.
A white
very
American
interesting
dude. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I
anyway,
do think it's probably good that he's writing about somebody in the Middle East.
No, I mean that's a good sign. Probably.
I'm guessing that there's no way that goes a little bit sideways.
No, I don't understand how it even could possibly. All right, let's get out of here.
This young camel herder is traveling to Flavortown. But he's almost out of donkey sauce.
He's out of donkey. We know that.
Yeah, he is.
We know that.
All right. That's going to do it, everybody. There's your President's Day show.
Yeah.
And it was a fun one, actually. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being part of TBTL. We are going to be right back here tomorrow with another one of these little episodes. So please, if you can, join us for that in the meantime. Have a great Monday. I hope you are getting to take some time off and relax and are enjoying this Monday. In the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow. Please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.